Chucky is back in the White House in Chucky Season 3 Part 2, but he's not alone. In Episode 5, we're getting hints that there's more supernatural things going on inside the White House. Yup, that means ghosts.
I've been interested in the lore that actually exists surrounding the White House and supposed ghost sightings and such that, have been taken seriously at certain times, most famously during the Lincoln administration, where they actually, held a seance in the White House. And we do that too. Just separate from Chucky, it's just something I've been doing research on over the years and thinking about doing something with. And then it occurred to me that it would be a really interesting place to place Chucky and at the same time expand our supernatural mythology.
We've got a ton of jokes about Chucky's aging and his existential crisis. There's this hilarious scene where Chucky's watching TV and all of these doll-centric movies come on, like Bram's the Boy and even Megan. That was just such a cool moment and so hilarious.
I haven't seen them. I don't see horror films because they scare me. I think all of that is great and a testament to Don Mancini, who, has created this icon who people want to mimic. And people want to, do their own versions of it. It's created excitement in it. And, it just, everyone is a compliment to Don.
Tiffany even puts her anger at Chucky aside to give him a pep talk and inspire him to be the greatest of all time.
Tiffany dies, Chucky dies, but they always, always, always come back. And I think I even say that to Chucky. Tiffany says, "You always come back, Chucky. You're like a cockroach." And she means it as a compliment. She's not insulting him. Chucky likes being called a cockroach. And I think that she's come a long way with Chucky. I always said to Don, Chucky and Tiffany are a love story. It's even though last season she says, "I hate you," and she saws his head off with a knife, or I think that was first season. Even though she's always saying she hates him, hate is the other side of love. I was like, she has to love him very, very, very much that she hates him so. And I think she hates him because he's failed her.
Meanwhile, our trio are still working to take down Chucky, including visiting the Doctor of Curses, who's also a Damballa worshiper. There were a few weak points in this episode, though. I think it started out a little bit slow, and I found the acting to be a little bit weak around some of our younger cast members. But this episode ends with a gnarly kill that makes up for it. Chucky attacks the president, pulls out his eye. Yup, that means Devon Sawa has been killed yet again, and now Chucky's got the nuclear codes to take down the entire world. Nobody's safe. Come on, man, what does Chucky have against Santa Claus? We're talking episode 6 of Chucky Season 3. Chucky has the president's eye and the nuclear code, and now he's ready to blow things up in the name of Damballa. Eerily, after the president's death, they bring in a double to cover for him that will have conspiracy theorists screaming. Chucky fights off guards, rips out eyeballs, all to get to the basement of the White House to launch off the nuclear codes. He's planning to start World War III with his last few moments on Earth, starting with the North Pole. He thinks that if he ends civilization, he'll go down as the world's biggest serial killer in history. Chucky ends up getting shot, although he does manage to send out one bomb on Santa before he dissolves into dust. But with all the hints of ghosts and even the First Lady seeing the ghost of the president, it's no surprise that Chucky becomes a ghost as well. In the most epic reveal ever, we get our first look as Brad Dourif in live action as the ghost of Chucky. Was anyone else screaming?
In this season, after 30 years, you get to see Charles Lee Ray in the flesh. We were so excited when he showed up on the set. We were like, oh my God, Brad Dourif, the voice of Chucky, is going to be doing some humanoid acting on our show.
Brad Dourif is back in live action as the ghost of Chucky in Chucky episode 7. We get to see him walking around the White House, seeing all the other ghosts that live there, some that died well before him, some that he killed himself.
I'm kind of retired, and I've been, doing the voice though, which is kind of like acting, but having to actually go into makeup and hair and eat lunch there and be around people was like really fun because in an odd way, doing the thing in my own living room, I didn't feel a part of it. So this gave me a chance to, meet everybody and work with them. And they're all wonderful actors. And I had a great time.
When he goes into the Oval Office, we get to see that all the statues and paintings have been replaced with images of Chucky's face. I thought that was hilarious. and he finally gets to meet Damballa. This was a pretty epic moment. I think it's been a long time coming for them to finally explore this lore, and Damballa looks like whoever you most revere, and since Chucky is such a narcissistic psychopath, he sees himself.
I honestly think it would be Chucky also, because Tiffany is definitely a stand by your man guy. You know, she stands behind. She idolizes Chucky, even though he knows he's a classless asshole. She's like, oh, this is what I fell in love with.
He learns that it's not about numbers, it's about passion, it's about originality when it comes to getting back in the good graces of Damballa. A Hollywood medium-esque psychic comes into the picture. As the trio decide to do a seance to contact Chucky, Chucky brings the haunt with a huge amount of blood. We get a Shining reference here. It was crazy. My favorite moment was just when Chucky was showing us what he's working with.
My name is fucking Chucky!
Jake pulls a Romeo and Juliet to get into the spirit realm and find Chucky. In addition to finding out where Caroline is, he also wants to find good Chucky and see if he can convince him to sacrifice himself so that Chucky can never come back. When I spoke to the trio, they shared that this was actually their first time meeting Brad Dourif in all 3 seasons.
They've heard his voice over a speaker for so many years now, so now to get to be in the room with him and actually acting opposite of him, especially in the stakes that there are, it's really fun. We had a great time working with him and just getting to finally meet him. None of us had ever met him before the 3rd season, so it was just really great to get to hang out with him.
Meanwhile, Tiffany is on death row. She's been controlling all the guards with her voodoo dolls, but it seems like someone is onto her. She has this glamorous death row walk in this black gown that Jennifer Tilly told me that she chose herself.
She's walking down the Green Mile in a very dramatic black veil, I must say, which was my idea. I was like, Tiffany loves being dramatic. I think even though she doesn't want to die, she loved the idea of going down the Green Mile in this black goth. She kind of returns a little bit to her goth roots, I think, in this season.
The stakes are high. Are Tiffany and Chucky really gonna die and be gone for good? This is like the one time we're just rooting for the bad guys to make it out. We're going ghost. We're talking Chucky Season 3, Episode 8. This is the finale, people, and it gets wild. In the ghostly realm, Jake finds Chucky and all of the other versions of Chucky watching his life story, including Fiona Dourif as her father. I loved seeing the two of them interacting.
What was that like playing opposite each other, like for the first time in this series?
First time ever on camera.
Oh, wow.
Really, really fun. I thought I was going to be too nervous to enjoy it, and that didn't happen at all. I was face to face with somebody that I trust more than any other person alive.
It felt oddly familiar when Fiona started out. We did a lot of auditions and stuff together. It's like being back in my living room.
When I was a teenager, I used to fight a lot with him. So that was really familiar also.
Such a full circle father-daughter moment. Jake believes he's found good Chucky and can appeal to him. But it turns out good Chucky was just a trick to help Charles Lee Ray return to the world of the living in the body of Jake. That was insane.
It was a lot of fun to play Chucky. I really had to just completely jump out of my skin. A lot of help from Brad, from Don, from Fiona, from Devin Sawa, who also played Chucky for a fraction of time in season 2. I would be at home and I'd go outside. I'd have this like urge to practice the Chucky voice at like random times in the night, and I'd go outside for like an hour and I would be laughing as Chucky, and I think I scared a few of our neighbors for sure.
It was so spot on. I thought it might have been dubbed at first. He nailed it! The trio, with Chucky now in Jake's body, go to Wendell Wilkins' house, the creator of the original Good Guy dolls and the Belle dolls. Wendell has the first ever prototype from 1987. Caroline is there, and she's vowed to be Chucky's friend to the end. She's even become a Damballa voodoo master.
Now that she finally sees that she's wanting to join the dark side, I think she just doesn't even know what to feel. It's just like, how could you be saying this to me? I was trying to come to save you. I've been looking for you for so long, and I want to just bring you home and for everything to be normal again. There's multiple worlds where this could go, but I mean, maybe we'll see Lexi join the dark side with her. I don't know. That'd be kind of interesting.
She helps put Chucky back in his doll body, which, lucky for Jake, means he gets to live. Meanwhile, Tiffany was on death row, but she had some backup plans, and they came through. Surprise, surprise, she ends up at grandfather Wendell Wilkins' house too! Chucky and Tiffany both get put back into their doll bodies, and they sail off into the sunset.
I know Don loves to have me in all my fleshly glory on the set. So I think he'll find a way, and I think the fans are going to be really thrilled to see the actual Tiffany doll again.
Meanwhile, as Nico arrives, we learn that our trio is trapped as dolls in Chucky outfits.
It was really cool because when I read it, I was like, first of all, how are we gonna do this? How are we gonna become dolls? Are we getting our own like like a bazillion dollar like animatronic? But it was really cool. I finally got to enter the puppeteer like room warehouse and super cool in there. They just I love those guys. They're so cool. I love the puppeteer. And yeah, it was kind of cool seeing how they kind of were gonna figure it out. They're gonna like scan our face and stuff. It was cool.
That left me shook. It ended a little bit abruptly, but I am hooked and I cannot wait for a season 4.
There's so many cliffhangers at the end of this season that I think people are going to be on pins and needles waiting to see what's going to happen next.
What'd you think about this season?